Pakistan faces a fundamental question. When a political leader is imprisoned, do his basic human rights remain protected? Former Prime Minister Imran Khan remains imprisoned, while concerns surrounding his health, medical treatment, and family access have reached Pakistan's highest court. On August 18th, the Supreme Court directed authorities to transfer Khan to Shifa International Hospital within 2 days for medical examination and treatment. The court called for examination by a multidisciplinary medical board with Khan's personal physician and his sister, Dr. Uzma Khan, associated with his care. The directions also addressed family contact, including weekly family meetings and telephone conversations with his sons twice a week. The government responded through the legal process, seeking review of the hospital direction and questioning the requirement for treatment at a particular private facility. But challenging an order and having it suspended are not the same thing.
Also addressed family contact,
including
weekly family meetings and telephone conversations.
International standards are equally important. The United Nations Nelson Mandela rules recognize health care for prisoners as a responsibility of the state. These principles are not reserved for former prime ministers. Every prisoner should receive necessary health care and humane treatment without discrimination based on legal status. This issue therefore goes beyond PTI, the government, or political loyalties. Human rights lose their meaning if they apply only to people we support. Pakistan's institutions now face a crucial test, protecting a prisoner's health and dignity while respecting the authority and processes of the judiciary. Human rights are not rewards for political loyalty. They belong to everyone. Justice is measured most clearly by how we treat those behind bars. At night, the land glows beneath a gathering sky. Pakistan is not only a map or a flag, it is the home of millions who ask for safety, dignity, and a voice in their own future. Across provinces and languages, ordinary people carry the weight of uncertainty. Families, students, laborers, and elders do not ask for privilege. They ask to live without fear and to be treated as citizens, not subjects. A constitution is a promise written for the people. When its spirit is pushed into shadow, parliament, courts, and public offices lose their moral light, and the citizen begins to wonder who truly holds power. Democracy is more than a ceremony. It requires consent, trust, and institutions strong enough to resist pressure. When those institutions appear weakened, the public bond between state and society begins to fracture. A vote is a quiet act of courage. People stand in line because they believe their choice should matter. Barriers, intimidation, or invisible pressure turn that hope into doubt, and doubt is dangerous for any republic. When election papers are questioned, signals disappear, or screens fall silent, the issue is not one party or another. The issue is public confidence. Without transparency, even peaceful disagreement can become a national wound. Power can shine brightly from official buildings, yet cast a larger shadow behind them. A state earns legitimacy not by appearing strong, but by being accountable, lawful, and answerable to the people it governs. The ordinary voter is the foundation of the nation. An identity card, a ballot box, and a waiting citizen should represent belonging. If access is locked, citizenship itself begins to feel conditional. Balochistan's mountains and deserts are vast, beautiful, and often misunderstood from far away. Behind every road and settlement are communities asking to be heard, not reduced to suspicion, silence, or strategic language. Attacks on passengers, workers, or civilians leave fear long after the sound has faded. We do not need graphic images to understand the harm. Empty seats can speak of journeys interrupted and trust broken. For families of the missing, time does not move normally. A photograph becomes a question that returns every morning. Justice begins with acknowledging pain, protecting due process, and answering families with truth. Peaceful protest is not a threat to the state. It is a language of citizenship. When barricades rise and communication fades, frustration deepens. A confident democracy listens before it orders people away. A mother beside an empty chair does not live in abstraction. She lives with unanswered knocks, unfinished meals, and years measured by calendars. No society should normalize uncertainty as a family's permanent sentence. There is another path. Dialogue under light, not command under darkness. Elders, students, officials, and communities must sit at the same table. because dignity cannot be imposed from a distance. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, mountains and villages carry memories of courage and loss. Security is a real concern, but true security must protect daily life, not make daily life feel permanently surrounded. An empty playground says what fear does to childhood. A football left still, doors closed, families waiting inside. These are the quiet costs of unrest long before history records any headline. Police officers, soldiers, and civilians have all carried grief. Recognizing every community's suffering does not erase accountability. It reminds us that the protection of life must remain the highest duty of the state. Technology may watch from above, but fear also looks upward. Countering violence cannot mean making entire villages feel like suspects. The line between protection and collective anxiety must never be ignored. Displacement is not only movement from one place to another, it is a home left behind, a child carrying too much, and a parent trying to preserve dignity while walking through uncertainty. Real peace is visible when school doors reopen without fear. Children returning cautiously is not a small detail, it is a measure of whether security serves life, learning, and the future. From Gilgit-Baltistan to Azad Jammu and Kashmir, mountains, rivers, and markets hold communities with distinct voices. Their concerns deserve representation, services, and respect, not distance from decisions that shape their lives. When people raise blank placards for electricity, food prices, and representation, they are not asking to weaken the country. They are asking the country to recognize their share in its promise. Suppression may create silence, but silence is not consent. Officials and citizens facing one another across a table show a better principle, that public problems require public listening and fair response. The Indus carries memory through Sindh, past farmland, villages, and Karachi's restless streets. Water, land, and livelihood are not technical matters alone. They are questions of survival, fairness, and trust. A narrowing canal beside dry fields can become a warning. When communities fear decisions are made without them, provincial rights become deeply personal. Justice must include land, water, and livelihood. Since strength has often been its diversity, attempts to divide people by language, origin, or fear may succeed for a moment, but shared dignity can outlast the hands that try to separate it. Punjab can appear calm from a distance, yet calm is not the same as freedom. Searchlights after dark suggest a public life watched too closely, where citizens learn to lower their voices. An empty political hall speaks of restricted participation. Folded chairs and a silent microphone remind us that democracy needs more than elections. It needs space for organizing, speaking, gathering, and disagreeing peacefully. A journalist pausing before deleting a report shows another kind of pressure. Free societies do not require every voice to agree. They require that truth can be pursued without fear of punishment. A street may look peaceful while fear moves quietly through it. Heavy surveillance can change how people walk, speak, and gather. Public order must never become a reason to empty public courage. Parliament, courts, newsrooms, and human rights offices are meant to strengthen one another. When their connecting lines fracture, citizens lose places to appeal, to speak, and to be protected by law. Justice must not lean toward power. Files, claims, and accusations belong in lawful processes, not in rumor or pressure. The scales must balance because every person is entitled to dignity before the law. Beyond Pakistan, foreign capitals often see maps, trade routes, and strategic interests. But a nation is not only its location. International concern should never forget the people living inside the strategy. The answer cannot be humiliation of citizens or worship of power. It must be a renewed social contract where every province, every community, and every institution stands around the Constitution under open daylight. The wounds are connected: missing persons, silenced journalists, damaged schools, displaced families, and unheard voters. None of these should be used for hatred. They should call the nation toward justice and repair. No one is greater than Pakistan, and Pakistan is not greater than the humanity of its people. Power must serve justice, democracy, dignity, and peace. Humanity must come before power.
Pakistan faces a fundamental question. When a political leader is imprisoned, do his basic human rights remain protected?
Every 14th of August, we celebrate. But are we truly free? Beyond the flags and songs lies a question. A question about rises proudly. Patriotic songs fill our streets, and millions celebrate an independent homeland. But behind the celebrations lies a difficult question. Are we Pakistanis really free? Pakistan is an independent country, but the independence of a nation and the freedom of its people are not always the same. True freedom means dignity, justice, equality, security, and opportunity, regardless of wealth, gender, belief, or background. Our Constitution promises fundamental rights: life, liberty, dignity, equality, education, fair trial, and freedom of expression. But rights written on paper have meaning only when they protect everyone equally. For many families, poverty still places quality education, healthcare, and opportunity painfully out of reach. Freedom must also mean that every woman and girl can learn, work, choose, and live without fear. And every minority citizen must be able to live, worship, and participate in society with dignity and security.
Reporting live.
Freedom grows when people can share ideas, exchange different opinions, and contribute positively to their society. Real freedom is felt when every citizen can live with dignity, security, and confidence in their future. A strong Pakistan is one where opportunity and fairness belong to everyone, regardless of wealth or social background. Every child deserves education, opportunity, and the freedom to dream of a better tomorrow. The freedom we inherited carries a responsibility to respect one another, strengthen our communities, and build a better nation together. On this day, we resolve to stand united, to honor our past and build a brighter future, unity and discipline.
Happy Pakistan Day to all!
From the battlefields of Palestine to hybrid governance in Pakistan, the modern era is witnessing an unprecedented decay of civil liberties and human rights. What once sounded exceptional is now becoming routine. Emergency powers, silenced voices, and civilian life trapped beneath political calculation. In Pakistan, civic space is shrinking under sweeping digital censorship, routine internet blackouts, and the normalization of enforced disappearances and military court trials for civilians. These are not isolated tactics. Together, they form a climate where fear replaces participation and silence is treated as stability. When judicial independence is compromised and marginalized groups are left unprotected, the rule of law begins to collapse from within. The state no longer acts as guardian of rights. It becomes the force citizens must fear, avoid, and survive. Comparing this crisis reveals a global truth. Whether through strategic alliances or geopolitical expediency, human rights are routinely sacrificed for power and security. This is geopolitical impunity. It allows governments and their allies to explain away abuses as necessity while victims are asked to wait. Reversing this decay requires more than concern. It requires universal accountability, reform of the United Nations Security Council, and clear red lines. A free press and digital privacy cannot be optional privileges. They must be protected as non-negotiable foundations of public life. Human rights are the scaffolding of civilization. When they are weakened, every society becomes less safe, less free, and less human. Read the complete three-part analysis at laco.com and join the movement at youtube.com, JLNHR and the HR activists. In a world that celebrates unprecedented technological connection and global progress, we still have to face a painful truth. Human rights are moving backward in too many places. Across the globe, we are witnessing a harrowing surge in systematic violations. Independent journalists are being silenced. Peaceful dissent is being suppressed. Civilians are being brutally displaced in conflict zones. and basic liberties that should protect every human being are being weakened, questioned, or erased. This is not a distant crisis. It is happening now, and it demands our attention. Authoritarian regimes and powerful interests are increasingly operating as if accountability no longer applies to them. They use digital surveillance to track activists, intimidate families, and identify voices they want to silence. They rewrite laws to choke out free speech, and they punish people for telling the truth. When the systems meant to protect human dignity begin to fail, the responsibility cannot simply disappear. It falls on ordinary citizens, witnesses, writers, and independent reporters to make sure the truth is not buried. That troubling global shift is exactly why I could no longer remain a passive observer. It pushed me to start writing, and it compelled me to build Laco.com and this YouTube channel. I created these platforms to be a vital and uncompromising space for human rights supporters and grassroots reporters, a digital sanctuary where marginalized voices can find an echo, a place where systemic abuses can be documented without fear of censorship, and a community where we can gather evidence, share testimony, challenge silence, and collectively hold power accountable. We write and we speak, not just to record history, but to change it. If you believe in justice, transparency, and the fundamental right to be heard, then I want you to know this clearly. You are not alone anymore. Welcome to the Laco Network. Make sure to subscribe, share this video, and join our movement. Thank you for standing with us.